Hey everybody, this is Psycore. This is XCW Recall.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to another episode of XCW Recall. Here we're going into a match between two XCW veterans. One being the Boat Kurt Acid, the other being a well-known combat specialist, boxer, Hall of Famer, and Psycore. So let's get in and let's see who walks out of this match.
Alright, here we are. Psycore is coming to the ring at SummerMania 15. The backstory of this, Genocide didn't have a match on the card. Of course, he's a giant legend in XCW and felt like he deserved a match, and so that was the story. And you really had just come back to the company and were starting to do the general manager role and stuff, which you actually took over from him. So this was the first time you'd really reached out and was like, hey, I'm interested in doing something out in the ring, and then we gave you this opportunity to wrestle Benji at SummerMania. So any thoughts going into this? Like, what did you think of your first match back, being against a vet, like a big name like Genocide?
I didn't think that there was much more I could ask for, to be honest. I knew that he had been around in 2004. I had been around 2004. I don't even think I practiced in a ring before this match.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I had no practice, no nothing. So I was probably my nervous here because I didn't know. I had never landed on a ring, So for that to be my intro to this wasn't too bad of an idea. And then all the history that we had.
Now, I think the first match that you guys had that I can remember, you, Genocide, from Cold Day in Hell 2005. And that was the famous Christmas Bowl match.
Yep.
So this is probably, I know that you guys had done a Ground Zero at some point in 2011, 2012, somewhere in that neighborhood. But this is the first time you guys really got a full-on match on a main show since that point. So, so was it like riding a bike? Did it just, once you got in there, everything clicked? Or did you guys have to do some run-throughs? Or, how was the day and the everything leading into the match here?
It was a rainy day, so it just, that kind of throws a little bit of the mood off that you would want. But for how it was, I felt like I was pretty comfortable inside the ring, being the fact that I had never even been inside of a ring.
And guys like Benji made it so much easier to be in there just because, I know that we picked on him. He's short and stubby and, moved pretty slow, but the guy knew his way around the ring.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he knew what he was doing.
So, obviously, this is SummerMania 15. You would continue after to be the general manager, lead into SummerMania 16, where you would then fight Stevie Goebel. And then you became a mainstay, once again won the XCW Championship, all that stuff. So, would you say that this was kind of the flame that lit the torch for you in terms of getting back into the ring full time?
I definitely would. And it's not just how I am, but coming back, having somebody good to wrestle with, it just shows you a different aspect of things. Because if you can do really good and have really good results with somebody like him, it wouldn't be that far stretched to be able to know that you can do it with anybody. Because he will teach you as you're in there. Stevie Goebel, I was nervous for. You guys know about that.
Yeah.
Just not knowing the vet stuff that we would do.
Right. Of course, you were the vet in that scenario, and the match worked. It went really well. So.
Yeah, I agree, and I believe this was kind of like the test run to see if I would come back, if this was going to be a continual thing, or if it was just going to be a one-off. And everything went super smooth, so that's why you kept seeing me in the ring. And being in there with somebody that I had worked with before on more than one occasion, been around since 04, we just had a different kind of trust for each other.
So during this, did you enjoy your run as the general manager? I know that you didn't really fancy yourself as a promo guy at first, and you felt a little out of your norm, and you were cutting promos every single week. So like, did you end up enjoying being the general manager, and this opportunity just came and you slowly worked back into the ring, or did you just dislike being a general manager and just had to get back into the ring if you were going to stick around?
It sucked knowing that when I was GM, I couldn't be in the ring more. Because I believe right after this match happened, it wasn't too long after I got back a hold of you, and I was already looking to get out of the GM spot. But it's all knowing how the ring works, you know, how to move, how to finesse the ring, regardless of who you're in there with. And as far as the promos go, yeah, I wasn't super strong on promos. As much as I talk at work and talk everywhere else, promos weren't something that, what I normally say just kind of comes off the whim, and in a promo, it can't always be that way.
Well, if you ask me, you do just fine in promo.
And you've said that even when I was uncomfortable about it. But I think doing them as the GM gave me more confidence when I did progress to go back into the ring and keep things moving.
Especially when you're out there doing championship celebrations. One of the highlights, I think, of your last run in XCW, for sure.
Yeah, and I had a blast. And it was just going out there and having fun. And if anybody can have fun, I can have a lot of fun.
So obviously we've talked about you and Genocide, Benji, in the ring. What was your guys' relationship like outside of the ring through the years?
We weren't, like, I had went over there a time or two. He had been, at your place while I was there. So we had time to kind of make memories and have all that. He wasn't like, he wasn't around as much as I was around you back in the day. But when we were together, we were perfectly fine. Like, he'd give me shit. He knew that I was giving it right back to him, and nobody was going to get offended by whatever anybody else said. Like, that was the one good thing about him, is we could say whatever, anything,
What do you have, like, a fondest memory of your time hanging out with him?
So, a funny memory that I have actually was me and you. We went and picked him up, I believe, and he brought 2 large pizzas. And I tell you what, getting a piece of one of those 2 large pizzas out of his grasp, that was hard to do, because even you were like, hey, can I get a slice of that? And he's like, oh no, and you were real close with him. So then when I had to ask, I was like, oh, I don't think this is going to work. And I believe he ended up giving me one. So it was just a good time, a good laugh.
I was just glad you weren't talking about the story where Robbie punched him in the face in the hallway.
Oh no, but I do remember that because I was the book holder for that one.
For the fans that are listening that don't know who Robbie is, it's a former XCW wrestler, Cyrus. Let's just say we picked on Benji a lot in school, but he was a good sport about it. He was still a buddy, so.
Yeah. He knew we weren't coming from a negative place, so it's like friendly bullying.
So, obviously, your final days in XCW were his final days before he passed. What was the last conversation or last memory that you guys got to share before you had left the company?
Well, now that you asked, the biggest one was, if nobody knows, those gargantuan things between his legs. We had actually told him to go get checked out for
We did for
3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it was an amount of time, and he kept putting it off. And it was to the point where he knew he needed help. And he come up to me so happy, and this was probably a week or two before everything kind of started going downhill. But he was so happy talking about how he was going to get that taken care of and kind of the aftercare that'll be needed and everything like that. So he was actually going to get that taken care of. It just took him longer, and I think that's because, just like any other guy, you're going to be afraid to hear what's wrong with you.
Yeah.
And he did not want to go. But then he finally ended up going and seeing that they were going to do something with him and help him out there. And I just wish that we could see the ending result of when he did start actually properly taking care of himself in those ways.
So it's been 5 years nearly since this match happened. This is probably the first time you've watched this match back in half a decade.
Yeah.
Were you happy with the result of this match? Is there anything that you would have wanted to change from this match? Anything and comments that you want to make about this experience?
It was very well thought out, and being able to celebrate with somebody like that after a match, and knowing that you can do what you do inside the ring, but you're still friends on the outside. That's a big thing. And the boat, Kurt Acid, he was that guy that everybody could be friends with.
What a great match that was between Psycore and Genocide. Psycore being able to walk out victorious at SummerSlam 14. Now, as we get deeper into this season of XCW Recall, next up on the agenda, we got your boy, Mr. 187 Genocide, the boat Kurt Acid, facing none other than Tommy the Man Merriman. Join us for that episode.